Hi, I'm Tony Mala, and welcome to the ASA Podcast, a program for automotive professionals that helps keep you ahead of what's now, what's new, and what's next in the business of automotive service and collision repair. This podcast is brought to you by the Automotive Service Association, dedicated to driving your success. And we'll be sharing information, insight, and inspiration that will not just help you make a living, it will help you make a difference. Hi, I'm talking today with Mike Charewicz, the owner of Accurate Automotive in Illinois. Mike, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, the reason I reached out to you, we have been doing some of our member profiles on the podcast, and your story kind of caught my eye. But before we get into that, I want to tell our audience a little bit about yourself. When did you get into the business?
Well, I've been in business for myself since 1977. I was rather young when I first started, 22 years old. So I've been doing this for 44 years. Been here in Des Plaines almost all of that time, right here on Oakton Street. So it's been quite a good run. When I first got started, we were putting rings in Vegas and camshafts and 305s, if you remember that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And we kind of made the transition, obviously, from that into what we're working on today, which is, except that they have four wheels, that's about the only thing that's in common, quite honestly. It's totally different than when I first started. But we've been very fortunate to stay up with the industry, and we're doing great. So
That's great. You just have the one location, right?
yes, yeah, just here in Des Plaines on Oakton. Yep.
Super. Well, again, the reason I wanted to talk to you is we've been talking to our affiliates to make, to recommend a few folks to that have some interesting stories, and yours was very interesting. I understand you're running for mayor of Des Plaines, right?
Yes, I am. Yes. Yeah.
What prompted that?
Well, a little bit of craziness, I think. It's hard to say. It's a very obvious answer that there's a portion of me that thinks I'm nuts, for doing it. The other half of me says, well, it's a way of giving back. Is really the reason I'm doing it. I'm not really a political guy. I don't have this big agenda or want to see, a bunch of stuff change. Des Plaines it's a great community. We're close to the airport. We're by Chicago, obviously, and we have all of the amenities like that. And I just want to make sure that we keep it going. And sometimes a business agenda is not the same as a city agenda. So that's part of the reason I want to get involved.
Interesting. Well, I would think running a business would be a full-time job. It is for most. Kind of when do you find the time, I guess, and how did you get into politics?
Well, I did get into politics about 10 years ago. I ran for alderman. We have 8 aldermen and 1 mayor in Des Plaines, and we have term limits. So I was elected for 2 4-year terms and then termed out. Instead of going back and trying to be alderman again, that was the idea, was to use some of my political experience along with the business experience, and let's give a shot at mayor. We do have a city manager, so it's a different form of government. In other words, I won't be in charge of hiring and firing people, or police officers or firefighters, even any kind of personnel. That's all done by the city manager. So really, it's more my job will be herding cats, getting all the other aldermen on the same page, trying to get a progressive way of changing for Des Plaines.
That's interesting. When is the election?
It'll be April 6th of 21.
Oh, so it's coming right up. Yeah, that's great.
And pretty soon we should be campaigning. Quite honestly, I've been holding off just a little bit simply because of current events. I'm kind of afraid to knock on somebody's door and say, hi, I'm a politician. I'm not quite sure what the reaction is going to be this week. I only have till April, so it's only a couple of weeks left, but I'm going to kind of test the waters to see, just what attitude is out there after the BS that's happened in Washington. So.
Yeah, well, these are definitely strange times, and I would imagine it takes a lot of guts to say, "Hi, I'm a politician, and I'm here to help." These days, right?
I made this decision many years ago, and like I said, it's just it is quite challenging. The job's going to be challenging. This is going to be challenging. I think, in a way, that's what's kind of enjoying about it. It is a huge challenge. Very, very, very big challenge. So But again, I will say to everybody who's listening, I've been doing the customer service. We're people oriented, shop. You have to be in order to stay in business. Everybody is. So really, what I learned here at the shop every day of how to, when somebody comes attacking you because the last guy ripped you off or something, you go, whoa, 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 that's not me. Don't treat me that way. A lot of that same, um, psychology, whatever words you want to use, training that I learned here at the shop, I use with the residents. It's exactly the same. They have a problem. We're trying to solve their problem. It's a little more regulated. City government is, politics for sure. You can't just do whatever you want like you kind of can at the shop. And probably the one biggest difference that I learned, as being alderman, and when you go to all the different AMI classes and stuff that I've attended to, every once in a while, it's okay to fire a customer, when it's just not working out. Well, that's the one thing you can't do in politics. You can't fire your residents. You are stuck with them. So that was probably the biggest one difference. But everything else, it's really the same. They're just looking for a fair shake. They're just looking to be heard. Some problems you can't solve. One guy, I would have board meetings, which was a great way of getting community input, just community meetings. He stood up in front of everybody, says, we got to outlaw dandelions in displays because his yard was a perfect yard, no dandelions of any kind. The neighbor, of course, across the street, of course, was the one that had, dandelions that they never even touched. So he was like upset that why are those dandelions coming on his property? And oh my God, what a mess that was. I mean, some problems you just can't fix, So that was one of them that I didn't even try to address that subject. It's like, sorry, we can't enforce something like that. There's no way we're gonna try to get the rest of the aldermen to go along with outlawing dandelions in displays. So
That's like a customer pulling up in a car, pointing to the front grill and saying, I don't like the expression,
Yeah.
I have to say, you are probably the first individual that has ever equated the skill set required for running a shop with politics. And, it makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Let's talk a little bit about your business. Accurate has been around for a while, as you had mentioned. How many employees do you have?
We got 5 techs, 2 office help, and then I'm always involved in the local community college.
Hmm.
Triton College here has a program through AC Delco where they work here for 2 years, go to school, and then during the summer they work. So I've always tried to build, grow my own technicians. And just like normal, some of them have stayed for a few years. Most of them, you build them, you grow them, and then they move on, which is fine. It works good. But I've always been involved in that. Right now, we have 2 younger guys that come in. We alternate their times, and seems like they enjoy their time off. When I was a kid, we worked 12. I call it half a day. I only worked from 7 in the morning till 7 at night.
Yeah.
Just half a day. And these kids nowadays, they need their time off. So we got 2 kids really to do the one job. It's been working out great. So.
Well, that's great. And what's the college you're involved with?
Triton College, right here in River Grove. It's a local community college. They're one of the best programs around. It's very inexpensive. Since the kid is working here, no matter where they live, they get in district rates, I think it's called. So it's really cheap. I think it's under $5,000 for tuition and everything, or around there, for the full 2-year program. And yet it's a fantastic program. We have a great reputation at the college because they also have dealers involved. And the disadvantage to the kids working at the dealers is they really become more glorified porters through the dealership, just because of the dealership mentality or whatever way you want to put it. So working here at the Independence, the kids get exposed to a lot more stuff. I mean, not only changing oil and doing brakes, we've got them tearing apart valve covers, doing intakes, all kinds of stuff. One of my claims to fame, in fact, you can even see in my little picture back here, is by loaner cars. I've got 25 loaner cars on the street. So anybody who comes in, I get a driver's license, insurance card, they take my car away. That has been a phenomenal, I've been doing that for decades, and it really works out well. costs a little bit for the insurance, of course, but getting the insurance card from the customer takes a lot of the liability off. Most of the little fender bender things have been handled by the customer's insurance, not even my insurance. So that helps a lot. And having the loaner cars then it's a perfect avenue for the college kids to work on. You know, when they either need brakes or a knock sensor goes out or something, I can have them work on that because then I don't have to worry about the customer pressure getting it done on time. So it's worked out well.
So is yours, it's more of an internship program than an apprenticeship program then, right?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. And they work during the school year, they half a day here, and then all day Friday. So that's always nice. You know, they help out with all the work on Fridays, and then they work all summer long when there's no school, which is when we're used to be busy. I don't know what this summer was going to be. I don't know what the new norm is of any kind, but you know, usually summer, June, July, and August, we were always really, really busy. So they helped out quite a bit with that. Teach them AC charges, all that stuff, and they're grateful. They're grateful to have the experience.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, it sounds like you've addressed one of the biggest problems I know that shop owners face, which is finding talent. Sounds like you don't have a problem with that. You have a direct pipeline to the school.
The school is just one tool in your toolbox, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I do have two other guys actually that are older guys. They're in their late 60s. One's even, I think, almost 70 now. They have all the expertise. They have the ability. They have the knowledge. Of course, the physical challenge, working them again, 5 days a week, 40 hours, 45 hours a week is a challenge. So we do the same thing with them, kind of rotate the two of them around so they get some time to rest up and still can come in. And that's been working out really nice, which is, again, probably different than I was doing, 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
20 years ago, we just had plain full-time mechanics, and that was what it was. You got to adapt a little bit now with the changing industry, because it certainly is harder to find good qualified technicians. There's no question.
Well, and you're blessed by having two experienced individuals that can act as mentors for the younger technicians.
It does work out that way, right? As mentors, you're right.
Yeah. How has the COVID situation impacted your business, especially with using interns and such? How have you coped with that?
I don't know if it's the same across all the industries. And I don't want to sound like a Wild West cowboy. I don't know how that all got switched, but so far my whole COVID compensation has been to buy a 2x4 piece of plastic and stick it on the desk and say, "There's my COVID,
shield."
My shield. That's it. And then I bought a can of hand sanitizer. That's poured on, and that's it. I mean, we really haven't taken much. We are wiping the cars down. We're doing a little more personal care for ourselves. Guys in the back are not wearing masks. We're all, I don't know. I've been one of those that has been very fortunate. I think the people that I see coming in the door are the people that are comfortable, obviously, with getting out and going and doing something, because that's why they're bringing the car in. Mm-hmm. I kind of see a big division. You have a lot of customers that are just really afraid. They don't want to come out. They're staying home. They don't even drive. And we don't see a lot of them except for when their car doesn't start or they got a flat tire, the battery's dead. We're going over to them, fixing up the car and then bringing it back. They're not even coming in anymore, just doing everything over the internet, with and phone calls for payment. So that's all we can do.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you've adapted, to those individuals that need that level of service, as most of us have. Has it impacted your business at all? Have you seen a drop?
We did have a significant drop when this first all started.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the second quarter of 2020. But I have to say, our summer was not as busy, but pretty close to a normal summer once everything broke. Now that it got quiet again, I have to say, I think maybe we're even making up a little bit. This is the first quarter of 21. Just January in Chicago, we've been in the 30s and 40s. Mm-hmm. Typically, we would be dead with that kind of weather. but we're not. We're still doing, we're towing in cars. Um, I think part of the problem, the way I describe it is, I would ask a customer, are you using the car every day? And they go, oh, yeah, I'm using it every day. Well, all they're doing is maybe going to Jewel or the library, or, I mean, they're putting 3 to 5 miles on the car. Nobody's putting 40, 50 miles on the car anymore. So the brakes are locking up, the batteries are going dead. They're not getting driven enough. So I think that's actually given us more work, not more, but different kind of work than we normally would have, again, on a 40-degree day in Chicago in January. So.
Well, that's what I've been hearing from a lot of shops across the country. Last year was horrible, but a lot of it came back. And as an industry, we seem to be adapting pretty well to whatever the new normal is going to be when this is done. Now that we're doing vaccinations and that sort of thing, hopefully we'll see an easing in some of the pressure. But you haven't lost any employees over this, have you? Have you been able to keep everybody working?
Well, knock on wood, we did. Yeah. We were able to get the first round of PPP money. That did help us get through that second quarter, and so that did help quite a bit. Yeah.
Okay. And one more question, actually, on the customer side of the equation. What's your customer base? Are you in a fairly a middle class area? What?
Des Plaines tends to stereotype it to be kind of a blue collar worker, whatever that means nowadays. I would say, yeah, we're in the suburbs of Chicago, so we are, I guess, what you would call middle class. We're working on probably the newer cars now are the 13, 14s that are coming out. So our cars are usually 4 to 5 years old when we start seeing them. We may get a couple of oil changes on the newer ones from regular customers, but there's and then all the way down to, we're still working on. Last week we had 2 94s, I think a Buick and an Olds that were still out here. OBD1 systems with the check engine light that we were working on. We still have the technology, so it's a wide range. Obviously, there's not as many 94s as there are 2010s, but yeah, we still work on a wide range. The other thing, I'm also in the Corvair Club, so we've been working on a lot of Corvairs still that were made from 60 to 69. I know, I mean, it's
Wow.
I don't mind. I still have that was my first car. The Corvair was different back then, so nobody else wanted to work on them. So I've been working on those ever since. And obviously, them pretty well after, they have their own little idiosyncrasies too. So that's been really good. And it's a challenge too, or it's actually not so much a challenge. It's fun when you got a car. I think the last one had plates on it from 1996. So the thing had been sitting for 20 some years, and you just go through the fuel system, the brake system, get it up and running, get it back to the guy. He's happy as heck driving it around, so that's been fun too.
Yeah. It's neat when you can work on some of the older iron, and the average age of the vehicle now is north of 12 years. So we're seeing older and older vehicles. But I know a couple of our members revel in the fact that they're working on some really classic antiques now, and really clean, examples. Corvair is an interesting choice. I remember back in high school, a friend of mine had a Corvair van, if you remember those.
Oh, yeah.
And we had to stop about every half a mile or so to open the windows and get out because the inside would fill with oil smoke. You know how they used to do that. But, dealing with such a wide range of vehicles, how do you handle training with your technicians? I assume you're involved. Is there any involvement with the community college along those lines, or do you just do with the industry?
ASA has been pretty good about that. Some of the parts stores, we deal with bumper to bumper. They have their tech training, once a year. Used to be in Milwaukee, and then was in Michigan, a little bit of Chicago. So I was president of ASA. That was quite a few years ago, but we always had a training day, every year for ASA, regular convention. So we would have the mechanical training and the service ready training at the same time. I think the ASA has been fantastic for that, and they continue on. In Chicago, we never had anything, quite as big as Vision. That's the state of the art, for the industry. And I know politically that's changed up a little bit, but it's still good for the industry to get training like that, no matter what. So Chicago's always tried to do some of that too.
Well, I know our ASA Illinois affiliate has always been pretty active in the training. In fact, they have that hands-on training, I believe, that they do periodically. Have you been taking advantage of any of the virtual training that's out there since during the pandemic?
Since I'm old, I really haven't made that jump yet. No, I
Uh-huh.
haven't. Yeah, I don't know why. I still like, the in-person, state-of-the-art kind of stuff, but I'm kind of hoping that we're going to get back to that relatively soon. So I'd be honest with you, I haven't delved into the virtual. I know it's out there. You see a lot of it advertised.
Uh-huh.
I personally haven't taken advantage of it. No.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about, and I'll let you go. I know you're busy, but you had mentioned you rely a lot on ASA. How has the association worked for you in your business? What value do you see in it?
Well, it really has been priceless over the years. I got involved back in the 90s, I believe, when actually Mitch Snyder was actually touring. So that's how many, years ago, a long, long time. And that's where we got our training. First it was technical training, then it was to make it short, then it was working, on your business, not in your business, that was the way. Because I came out of the technical side, I used to value how many tune-ups I could do, or how many brake jobs I could physically do in a day, get the cars in and out, that kind of stuff. Now I kind of looked at, okay, how many can I get my guys to do, and how efficient can I make them, and what kind of systems can I set up? So it was a whole different value system changing for my own sense of how I was doing well, and managed by the numbers, and all this stuff that we picked up along the way. And ASA, it was just priceless for all of that. So that's where I got my business education, was through ASA. And then probably just as important, even more important, would have been all the camaraderie that we got. I mean, the buddies that I met, back years ago. Unfortunately, some of them have now sold their business; they died off, but a lot of them are still around, and we still get together. I got one group of guys. We meet. In fact, we'll be meeting tomorrow night, the last Tuesday of the month. We call us the has-beens, because we all has been president of ASA at one time or another. So we get together, and they're still good friends, and we're not only talking shop. Of course, we're talking, some of them we're talking grandkids and all that other kind of stuff. So it extends even more than just the business expertise that we were able to share. I didn't come up with the idea of owners. Somebody else did, and I just stole the idea. It's worked great for me. All the different ideas and stuff we use every day in the shop came from other shop owners. And ASA was definitely the conduit that allowed for all that to happen. No doubt at all.
Yeah. Well, that has been the value of the association. I know I made many lifelong friends as being through my affiliation with ASA, and I'm glad to hear that tradition is continuing. So, well, Mike, it's been a pleasure. Again, I know you're busy. I don't want to keep you all day. Any final words before I let you go?
I just appreciate you guys continuing on with the podcasts and everything else that you're doing to educate us all and keep it going. Thank you very much, Tony. This was great. I feel honored to have the opportunity.
Well, I'm glad you can make the time, and it was a pleasure talking with you. Good luck on the election. We'll be pulling for you for mayor of Des Plaines.
It'll be interesting to see what happens, and it'll be fun. Like I said, I've been teasing. Okay, getting elected is probably going to be easy. Then you're right. Now I got to be mayor. That's going to be the hard one.
There you go.
I'll get it figured out.
Yeah, they say be careful what you wish for. I suppose that's true.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
well, Mike, it's been a pleasure. We've been talking with Mike Charewicz, the owner of Accurate Automotive in Des Plaines, Illinois. Mike, again, thanks for the time today. It's been great.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. Thank you again.
Take care.